Today we are going to work on reviewing angle relationships. So back in chapter 7, we learned about 4 new types of angles. We already knew acute, obtuse, right, and straight, but then we learned about 4 new ones. We learned complementary and supplementary. We learned about adjacent and vertical. So adjacent angles were the ones that were going to be next to each other. You'll have to bear with me because I'm drawing on my computer screen since I don't have my smartboard with me at home. So it's going to be a little sloppy looking, but you can see that these two angles, they share a common ray, a line in the middle, and they share a common vertex, which makes them, and they're right next to each other, so they are adjacent. They're next door neighbors. Then we also had vertical angles. They were going to be across from each other. Remember, our vertical angles are going to be congruent. So this angle here and this angle here, they would be vertical and also congruent or equal. If I look at this, these two over here on this side, these two angles would also be considered vertical angles as well. Then we learned about complementary and supplementary angles. So complementary are two angles that add up to 90 degrees. Remember, a complement is always the right thing to do. And then we also had supplementary, which are going to add up to 180 because a supplementary angle makes a straight line or a straight angle. So when we look at that on here, if this one's 140, this one would have to just be 40 because they would have to add up to 180. We then took our knowledge of all these kinds of angles and we started doing those complicated ones where we had to find and solve for all the different missing angles. So let's look at a basic one that was actually one that we did for a homework assignment, and let's review with that. So I look here, I'm going to try to have to solve for A, B, and C. I have to use my knowledge of triangles and my knowledge of angles in order to do so. So if we start right here, and this is a 47-degree angle, I know that C would have to equal 47 degrees as well because they are vertical angles. So C would equal 47. From there, I can try to solve for B because A, I don't have enough information for right now. Now, how it looks in the drawing, they all look like they should be equal, but we can't go based on what the drawing looks like. We have to do based on what the numbers tell us. If I look up right here, I know that the 61, the 47, and the B, all three of those together are going to form a straight line. So I know all three of them have to total 180. So if I take 61 and I add that to 47, I would get 108. So I know that these two together are 108. So if I take 180 minus 108, that's going to give me an answer of 72. So I know that B would equal 72. So I'm going to put a 72 right here because it's much easier to type on here than it is to write. So B is 72. So now if I know that B is 72 and C is 47, and I know that all angles in a triangle add up to 180, I can now solve for the missing value of A. And I'm going to go back to my typing tool because it's way easier. So if I take my 72 that I have plus my 47, that's going to equal 119. So my missing angle has to be 180 minus 119 because that's all that I would have left. So I know angle A would be 61. I can say that angle A would equal 61. That's how I could go and I can find all the degrees that were missing on my picture. So today you're going to be doing 2 activities, one on Desmos and one on a website to practice and review this skill.